So welcome to my presentation on how to teach a cover lesson. It's relevant to any teacher, I hope, but particularly if you're regularly called to classes that you don't know. Well, the first thing I have to tell you is that teaching everything is not as intimidating as it seems, and it doesn't lessen your skills as a teacher. In fact, it's much easier than it looks. So let's begin with the task that you'll probably have been left, which will be a reading task. And I'm going to suggest that this method I'm going to outline here will work with any reading task you're given, and moreover it will train your pupils to be independent learners. So SQ3R, not some strange Roman legion, but something else entirely. Well, the S stands for scan. So here we are, an imaginary textbook, and you'd give the pupils only 30 seconds to see what they could find out. This means they can't possibly read all the text. They would instead look at the headlines, World War II and its aftermath. Goals for learning, to explain the major causes of World War II. I've got a timeline here that goes from 1935 to 1945, so there'll be some events. I've got a map, presumably of where the Second World War took place and how it spread. And I've got some map skills here, and I've got to study the map and answer these questions here. And aftermath, I might not know what that means, but I do know what after means. Now I just quickly scan through and I notice Axis powers, Holocaust, and some countries. Okay, so that's my 30 seconds done. Well, now that I've scanned, I'm actually going to shut the book and I'm not going to look at it any further, and I'm going to try to come up with 6 questions. That's what the cue is. And I hope that when I get the answers to those 6 questions, I will know the most important things on that double-page spread. So my 6 questions will reveal the 6 key things of learning that I need. Next, after I've prepared those questions, I'm allowed to actually try and read the text. This is vital because if you remember the way I approached this text, I didn't have to understand every single word on it. I merely had to focus on the stuff I did get, and that's a wonderful way of differentiating a lesson that you yourself have not prepared. And by the way, if you are reading an information text as a normal teacher, it's a great way to differentiate again. So once we've read through the passages again, we're then going to write our answers to the 6 questions, and then finally we're allowed to review to see if any of our questions didn't predict a piece of information that we still need to find out. So, why is this better than a normal cover lesson? Well, if you get the questions typed up on the board or on the interactive whiteboard software, you can start ranking them, and you'll see instantly that questions that begin with how and why are more valuable to know than questions that begin with what. You can take responses from different pairs or different individuals and have 10 questions and then decide, well, 4 of those are less relevant, let's focus on a class 6. So next, the way you sit your pupils has a lot to do with how they learn. There may well be a seating plan in the lesson, but the job of pupils in pairs is to teach each other. So they might write their questions separately, but then compare and refine down to a final 6. They might, by the way, only get to 4 or 5 by the time you say, right, let's check your questions, and then of course they steal 2 or 1 from the board based on how the class ranks them. And similarly in their pair, they're responsible for teaching each other the answers, which they both write. I use a dice in my classroom because it stops me getting into confrontations with pupils. So imagine they're all sitting in rows, and I wish to start victimizing them, that's maybe how they perceive it, by asking them questions, catching them out on what they don't know. But I carry a simple die into class, I'll roll it, and I might count desks, so I roll a 6. The pair at the 6th desk that I get to have to tell me what they've discovered. Or if I haven't got a die with me, I get pupils to choose a number between 1 and 6 or 1 and 10. And so I'm constantly picking on pupils at random. This provides me brilliant feedback as a teacher because volunteers give me the answer that's right and give me the illusion that my class know exactly what they're doing. However, if I pick pupils at random, I have a perfect ability to see what the class don't know. In the supply lesson, of course, this is a brilliant way to keep pupils on task. They know the dice will be rolling, and they know there's a very high chance, certainly as they perceive it, that they will be selected, and no one wants to look stupid in public. And they're much more likely to do the work that's been set. And another way of making sure that the behaviour in the class is behaviour for learning is to have a routine of checking, and I'd recommend checking every 15 minutes. Many teachers keep their plenary to the end of the lesson, by which time it's probably too short, and also there's nothing you can do when you find out, oh God, they haven't learned something. If you check every 15 minutes, you re-evaluate where the lesson is, where the learning is, and you have a chance to intervene. Intervening is basically where your job as a teacher is. You get some feedback from the class, you realise what's not going well, and you alter the lesson plan. And that's always the sign of successful teaching. And if you do it every 15 minutes, you can check at least 3 times during the lesson, and you've got an opportunity to take the lesson a different way, or indeed find out the people who are secure in their learning and get them to teach the ones who don't. Use the pupils as a resource. They are the experts in a cover lesson, and you're not. And even if you are, it's a very useful illusion to maintain. And so, probably at the beginning of the lesson, I might find 2 or 3 experts who I'm going to allow to monitor the learning. How will I do that? Well, I'll ask them to volunteer. An interesting feature of this is it's usually boys, the very same boys who might disrupt your lesson as a cover teacher, who are going to want to take on the mantle of expert, and they'll really enjoy other pupils coming to them to find out a fact or to understand a process, whatever it is. This allows you to monitor the behaviour of the class for learning, to see what their progress is like. And it also allows you to decide whether or not you need to intervene, or at what point it's good to review the learning, use the dice and find out what pupils know. 2 such volunteers is very manageable. 3 can be a problem if you think pupils are deliberately getting out of their seat in order to go and see a friend, but I'm sure you'll find a way of managing that. Personally, I find it leads to far fewer discipline problems, and peace will reign. There you go, there's the proof. Of course, as a cover teacher, you're probably not a subject specialist, and if you are a subject specialist, I'd recommend that you forget that fact. Your subject specialism will often get in the way of your pupils' progress, and by that I mean they'll wait for you to give them the answer. And there's a fantastic advantage in a cover lesson. You don't know the answer, and you get the pupils to teach you. Again, you can use dice, or you can actually ask for volunteers. Personally, I always stick to the dice because it makes pupils accountable again, and of course if they teach me something that's wrong, other pupils in the class will put them right, and I can also judge whether I have to intervene for the whole class or whether that simple intervention from other pupils is going to work. Another way of getting pupils to teach me and the class, of course, is to put one pupil, or often it's better to have a pair, writing at the board. And if you have a remote, pupils are typing away at the computer and you can freeze the screen or obscure it, and their answers aren't revealed until the end of the activity, and then you can reveal them in order to get the rest of the class to mark and correct their own work. And that again is a very efficient way of keeping pupils on track and also making sure they understand what they're learning. And then finally, don't be a dinosaur. These might be different techniques, but evolve, go with it, because they force pupils to learn and they make your job in the classroom much, much easier. And there you have it. I hope that's been of help, and I look forward to making some more videos. Please send in any requests for topics you'd like me to cover, and I'll see what I can do.